Alrighty. I've, well, go ahead. Welcome back to the whole transport fever thing. I've been trying to finish up my 1890s infrastructure. Because I've already got the central line down the main route here. But I feel like there would at least be a passenger service to all cities. It's definitely possible. And if we could do that, then we can get a little bit of freight service to here as well. Not a large amount. I don't think we'll complete the factory chain over here. Well, food is fairly easy to run. I think I'm going to run it down to a port over here, which is kind of funny since it will start off over here and ultimately wind up over here being shipped from there, even though there's a dockyard right here. Well, I think I'm going to have all the passengers come over here. This is the one that makes the least sense. Or I say least sense. It really winds up being there's no good way to cram passengers and docks in here where it'd be most efficient for both islands. But, I mean, there are ways, but I'd have to deal with the rail network being out of place, and it just looks really good where it is, so I'm leaving it. It's quite possible I could have run it down the center here and up around the edge here, but it's that sharp turn here, or a road crossing here. Though I've done something somewhat similar with this real interesting hybrid station that leads to this dock, which is frankly in the middle of nowhere. It's kind of a jungle dock in the middle of the woods, though if you look at the other one that I've set up over here, they're also kind of similar, because it turns out it's hard to build a port right in the middle of a major town. I've gone ahead and done my little intercity tram layout again, which honestly covers most of these cities. So tram lines should fulfill a major part of the demand. I think we'll have about 15 running. I say 15, 10, 2 from there to there, and then maybe 11. 3 from here, 3 from here. Or maybe 2 and 3. So maybe just 10 ultimately. And then ultimately a cargo dock over here to, what is it? One port for there, one port for there, and we can expand it as needed. But as for right now, it'd be so hard to get enough stuff in there, and it'd have to come in here and then be transported down the main line there. Our trains, frankly, just aren't fast enough to make it really worthwhile. I mean, we'd have massive trains having to sit there for nearly half the fiscal year just to deliver, like, large quantity of stuff, but it's not a very far distance as the crow flies. It's taking such a roundabout way. We could probably make money. It's nearly impossible not to make money in the game. But how do I put it? It'd be really inconvenient. At least without a faster diesel train, or a diesel train to pull a massive number of cars to actually fulfill some amount of that demand. It's got only like 244, Jesus. Rica left seems to need a lot more. What are we looking at for the left now? Got nearly doubled it. That seems fine to me. A truck every 30 seconds. This is completely reasonable and lead to no extra road congestion whatsoever. Meanwhile, I've been letting it run for a bit, and Mijas has expanded quite a little bit, mostly up over here, around the rail lines. It's sort of beginning to clump up around it and move down over to here. It's fairly nice looking. I'm worried about running industry back through here at some point in the future. I'm going to go ahead and build my rail lines, linking this whole thing together, so at the very least the city doesn't get confused and explode when I delete half the houses later. It's a really long way to have to wait for anything to clear, especially with this bottleneck right up over here. So we're probably going to have to look at, like, it's probably going to be until the late, or at least mid 20th century, until we can actually fix these problems. The problems, of course, being congestion caused by enormous trains, or the multitude of trains we're going to have to up production capacity over here. Which is just, we're not going to be able to ram that many trains down it, because there's the load of this entire area is defined by the bottleneck here, and this massive one line that just it essentially chokes the entire area, because we can only have one train in here at a time. But I don't ever like to run double lines through cities because it feels wrong, but I may be forced to over here. I might do it right here. I might actually split this off into a double line here. Just so I don't mess with my distribution network. I don't have any music right now, so I'm just kind of not really feeling it today. Right now I'm feeling a little bit more, I don't know, internally mental, I guess. I'm not entirely sure. Probably have to delete this street crossing to get this two-way track. Probably have to delete this two-way track to get that street crossing I have in mind there. And we'll just have it loop back off around. There is nothing wrong with this whatsoever. This is a completely reasonable way to build a railroad, and absolutely no salaried engineer is having a heart attack right now. That said, that looks fairly reasonable if I do say so myself and decree it myself, and I don't know, it's a banana republic. I can do whatever I want. I appreciate having no costs. I sort of sidetracked myself from the entire shipping network I was building down here to talk about how big that city's getting. Can't help but think about it, though. Still, I did delete these roads for a reason. I'm sure it's fine. We'll fix it later. Maybe we will just double track that whole thing, because this promises to be a rather complicated industry setup with what? We need one train for the oil. For the Is it oil or fuel that goes out? Oil. Yeah, so we'll need one train for the oil. We'll have a ship bringing in the crude. Unless... because the big bottleneck on shipping tends to be the boats themselves. They tend to be rather slow. I mean, they're big, but they're slow, and they tend to have reduced throughput compared to a giant train that's blitzing it. At least on these smaller maps. The train outpaces the boat over time. I think in real life, the boat wins because the boat is just that big. And it might do so a later game in here, because I've never actually played up to 1970s. I like steam engines. Might not be a terrible place just to put a ship that carries logs over there. Anyway, that'll be a 1920s expansion, because I'm going to build a steel girder bridge across here and run the stoneworks, sorry, the brickworks out this way, and the food up underneath it into a one line combined that goes up this way, where one splits off to come here and then comes back, what's the word? Goes here, drops the food off, comes back and leaves out that way. While another train takes the food and goes down that way. It'll be cool. It look really wild. I don't want to break these roads, and I don't want to cross them several times, because right now it's fine. You know, in 1890 when no one's taking a horse across the island. But come 1920, which is the next era I'll be stopping at, people are going to start to drive their crappy little cars everywhere, and it doesn't really mess with rail traffic, but I don't like to mess with automotive traffic either. I like to coexist with my fellow islanders. And give them decent road traffic networks, and not just mess stuff up so that my public transit is the only option. Because I might be a mildly evil capitalist, but I'm not that evil. Let's see. Just kind of wondering what the rate for that's gonna be. It's probably gonna take a while to compute, because maritime routes are, I keep saying naval, I mean to say maritime. Maritime routes, I think they trace from like point to point to point. But I think the problem is that as you gain a larger amount of area to compute, it has to pathfind a much more complex problem with many issues. And I think the pathfinding algorithm is optimized for track. I'm not entirely sure how water works. Call it... it's a very generic name. We'll figure it out later. 138. Yeah. Still, it's a really cool looking boat. These are probably going to make up the bulk of our sailing fleet for a while. We'll just let them get out and get to position. Over here I've created a rail line which runs the route. It's actually a fairly pretty one too. We will probably put that on an old smoke wagon. I'm trying to find a good place to put a depot for it. I might just put one up here at the terminal. I don't really want to, but it does almost make the most sense. It's at the end of the line. May just be a bit too hard to get a train onto that line. It's growing towards 996 people, so it's still sizing up with the network we have. And right now it looks like what's bottlenecking is our what do I call it? The person feeder. Hilariously named person feeder. I also threw 4 more passenger trains on here to keep life interesting for all the fine folk. Almost looks like a World War I convoy or something. Kinda does look like a World War I convoy. I know that if I launch it from here, it can go up and around, and maybe that's what we'll have it do. It'll throw some congestion to the line, but frankly at this point, what do I do that doesn't? Just toss a general on with what? And yeah, that train has the capacity to move everyone that entire shipping line does, making it a great little what do you call it, commuter rail line. It's just gonna have to cycle around for a bit. For some reason, this has turned to my main rail depot out of laziness more than anything else. make sure I have that. Make sure north is actually docks. May rename it to wharf later on. Rico is building as well. Here I've got a building project planned. That's really for a bit later. That's gonna be the food line. What's that? That's kind of cool. Alrighty, now for the tram line that I guess I've decided to build out here. I'm not going to enter into the cursed intersection competition just yet today. I'm just gonna deal with this issue before it becomes a major issue. There we go. That looks reasonable. Tram! I will never get over, tram! In typical Anglo speak, I'm going to name this thing Laguna Dock, because it is the first word that is not the name of the place I am, even if it does just mean lagoon dock. It's kind of a lagoon. It's almost helpfully descriptive. If it weren't for my incredibly ignorant naming scheme, you'd think I was brilliant. I did this completely wrong, didn't I? There's tram, 90, 155. Leon tram, 81, 81. It actually works out pretty well. And that one is about half the size of that one, so it does kind of weirdly work out. So maybe we'll just buy 5 more trams. I was originally going to do that weird split thing, but judging for the rough size of the demand, it seems to be correct. And continuing on with my horrifically offensive naming scheme, this island is now Lagoon Island in Spanish. K Exotica. And people can actually get around a bit too now, so the city should grow a little. There we go. So they move about 138 a year. These each touch probably enough people. I mean, they're basically fully surrounded by areas, so it's really just like the outskirts of town which have got to get gotten. I think this one genuinely covers pretty much all of Leon. So there, it's just a problem of increasing capacity. San Cristobal. San Cristobal of the Lagoon. It's not... I mean, we could say this is... Like, it's not this lagoon. It's this lagoon. Let's see if that steam train ever figured out how to get switched around. May have already done it when I wasn't looking. Which reminds me, I didn't set his route to do the thing it has to do. Which is when it gets to the docks, it needs to full load. Don't really need that thing running too fast and wasting all of my infinite money. Are they all going right now? Okay, no, they're all going left. Good. This is a fun new little jungle route. I like it. It goes along pretty well with the sharp turns and stuff. Not a very powerful train. Not a very powerful line. Probably converted over to a couple interconnected self-contained units in like the 80s or something after a short stint as a, I don't know, fairly terrible diesel line with few redeeming factors other than it's cheap. Tickets are dirt cheap. Destination is in the middle of nowhere. That could be a benefit if you don't want to go anywhere. I really do just love the map, though. So much about this game can just come down to the map you're playing on. If it's too generic or too boring when it's generated, it can just be kind of bland. But if it's nice, I find the ones which have a intelligent design in them, and I do like literal intelligent design, the sort of a human hand in making it, tend to be the best. Which I mean is true for many things, but the workshop has been wonderful for it. You can get probably hundreds upon hundreds of hours out of this game just playing different maps, and this is one of the smaller maps in the series, and I already played it for what, like 10 something hours. I'm mostly playing it so I can finish a map, but there are some massive ones that center around running enormous freight trains. Just true behemoths of steam and iron, and later the massive diesel trains that you would see in real life, just all the way through some areas. There's some really cool stuff in the game. This is a workshop map. I forget the author's name. I'll have it in the next part. Or, well, I'll put it in the description or something, in case anyone feels so inclined as to try it. Yeah, looks like a ship is finally docking. How have we broken road traffic? Not great. Not terrible. One day, someone's gonna want to go to the docks. And when they do, oh boy. I don't think that fully connects. So I'm gonna do a pro gamer move. There we go. There we go, now it connects. And that's what it will look like when people finally get on the train. Which should start happening now that there's somewhere to go. Yeah, see, the numbers bumped up just a little. And that connects to that, connects to that. So we should start seeing something happen. It might probably start over here if it does. This connects to the dock. The dock connects to there. This dock connects to that dock, which connects to the tram, which connects to here, which connects to everyone over there. Okay, cool. So that line works. It'll just take some time to get the word out. And this is really, like, the station length is a minor concern over here. Though now that I have the option, I may delete that section in. Increase the length of it just a touch. Cargo building. Give me a small one. There we go. Alright, nice. It's got to be killing the route. No, it's the potential route. That's right. Let's see. By upping the destinations, I should have slightly bumped the number of people who could get... We'll come back in like an hour and see if it's improved. You have to run a crude oil train down, or not crude oil, an oil train that runs through here along the same route as the express. And the Mijas Bearson feeder may just need more. What do we have on that? Like 300 throughput, and the Mijas Bearson feeder has 80. With a 46-second delay. Well, at the bare minimum, we could just double everything in here. I don't think doubling it again is really the right idea. I don't know if a 10-second interval on buses is really how it should be done. It's not like we're running World War I. We might just need better transportation options to keep up with the trains. Or less trains. Or worse trains. Or just less trains. I know what it is. I mean, I say that, I'm completely bullshitting. It does get most parts of the island. A bus line here is probably a better idea. We're gonna need trucks eventually anyway. There we go. Just buy ourselves what, like Yeah, 119. Then the intra-island route has 169. I would probably want to throw the same number of boats on it, like 3. Two. That. It's 119. So probably work for now. We could probably just put a cargo dock on this thing and call it quits as far as transit on this island is concerned. This will be a cool city to see grow out. I'd like to put an airport in here one day. Just absolutely demolish a section of the city. I'm just kidding, we're never going to get the city that built up. We'll just build it in the barren ground in between. But maybe these people will want to go somewhere by a boat. It's not like they can go anywhere else. I think aircraft are probably going to wind up being the ultimate decider over here. Flying passengers between there and there. And for the mountain, I would honestly say between here and the mainland, just keep it short, or to keep it longer. But they might fly from over there to here. Really short hop over to here, and then we use larger jets here as our what do you call it? Big intercity movers. Feels like we're kind of overwhelming them with rocks. I feel like we could really put the rocks. No, we really can't because they got to be loaded onto that train from there. Still, the rock throughput right now is great. We'll probably still run a regional train up and down. The airliners will probably be nice for fast stuff. And the regional train might honestly still dominate the whole area. But I'm thinking that we're going to require so many large-scale freight trains at the end. And the main thing is this bottleneck here. That passenger demand, which tends to get kind of big. Because you just, I'm trying to think of how to put it. It tends to be like if you put a little bit extra freight into a city, it kind of doubles along with the amount of freight you need, I think. So finding ways to shuffle that passenger demand kind of anywhere else tend to help. I love these express trains just blasting down. we're losing stuff to those rocks. See, we got the wood feeder with the rocks, 220, so that's what, 111 we'll call it, that brings rocks in. Rock feeder is 90, and you take 140 out. This doesn't make sense. Honestly, I'm gonna pump it up a little bit even further. Not that far. Pause it. Not you. Because we're going to overperform it, but in this case, by what, 20? So we'll have about an empty car at the back. Maybe I take off one more. Now we overshoot it by about 11, so we'll have, on average, one empty car. But also, the dock won't be horribly overloaded. And we'll make a ton more bricks. And it doesn't matter how many bricks we make, because this whole thing is just bricks. Bricks, 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 bricks. Bricks everywhere. We're going to be sending bricks all over the world soon. So, oh my god, it worked. Everyone is going on the intra-island passenger route. Yeah, no one seems to want to go to the mainland. Which is a little weird. Probably has something to do with the... Hey, 3 people want to go to the docks. Probably has something to do with the vaguely insane travel time. But hey, you know, I provided them a way. I bet these towns got massively upsized from the thing, and they did. And the good thing about passengers is as they grow, they tend to grow around the areas you've provided transport for. Transport for. And then they add on to the percentage of things which can be transported, which itself grows the city. Until eventually the city outgrows it after a little bit of time. But yeah, it's nice to see people lining the docks, yearning to go somewhere else. And eventually they'll bring people back over, and then once the back and forth starts, that's when it starts to really pick up. It's just for the boats, it takes a while because, well, it takes a while. Oh, I have that docks thing set to come here, and the main line set to go over there. That's a little weird. Could I have you come here instead? And use the entrance, man. Docks, manage line. There we go. Manage line 2. Wrong one. There we go. Still, interesting question. Why can't you get over to number 2? I just wasn't looking. Well, ignore me. I'm certain it's all probably fine. You know, I'd say there's a halfway decent chance that half these people are going all the way up here. And, as such, running a tram line all the way along here with a bunch of extra trams might not be a terrible idea. How full is that tram line? Tram! The only one turning a profit. Boy, howdy, don't I love it. What have I done? You'll figure it out. He's a smart kid. Gotta take this one a little while to get up to speed from now on, though. Carrying this massive amount of rocks up a hill. Just gonna butcher some Greek there for fun. Come on, clear it. Yes. Tons of fun. Alrighty, we have produced too many bricks. And the managers are contemplating suicide. En route to mainland. Oh. Probably only need to put one boat on that then. Still, I'm gonna leave them as the massive behemoths of, well, I don't know. That they are. You know, that's quite a nice picture. I might just use this as the thumbnail. Or something like, there. That's a nice one. Yeah, that intra-island route is it's actually kind of working. I wish the ships bobbed a bit more, you know, in the water. I feel like that's what's really missing, is a decent sea state on them. They don't really jostle. I might have too many buses running here, but we will catch up to them eventually. Okay, I really don't need that many. I need like 120. Alrighty. There we go. I think this is roughly where the island's gonna be at for 1890. You know, no bricks can really get through to here without having to do our 1920s bridge. No food can get through because I haven't set it up, because once again we need the bridge. We managed to fix the rock problem by, well, just taking all the rocks, and something's changed over here, has it? I'm slowly accruing more rocks. But I'm sort of setting these up for a series of cinematic shots of the island. If you're wondering why I'm talking about jumping through eras. Because I don't really like, I do like the tycoon aspect of it to an extent, but I really like the track laying and organizing rail lines, and this has freed me up to do so much more of that without having to worry about all the other stuff. Like money. All right, show me people making money. Yeah, we could probably downgrade like 2 of those trains off the line. I don't know one. In fact, I'm going to sell 2 of the train. Well, maybe just one. I think it was the one directly in front of me. No, it wasn't. 256. The main thing is we're just running such tight loops on these things, we can't really get it much smaller. And it doesn't count unless the load can actually get through, so... Why run a train you don't have to? 170. That's about the best one of our cities has, which is the 160, 160, 162. The Mijas Bersenveter, the one with an absurd wait time that is just ramming people through as fast as we can. But what are they at, like 162? 163 to our 170. So we're still over providing for half the maintenance cost. What is the maintenance on one of these things anyway? Like... Oh, yeah, I have it at ridiculously high. But if I were to take this number... No brain, what am I looking for? Edit, replace, select, set color, configure maintenance. Maybe we could just do it like that, like normal people. We would see the train turn a massive profit. This is a great idea, with no flaws. Unless I'm horribly misinterpreting how that train works, and I actually need double the throughput on my 2-line station because the individual towns handle each half the traffic of the rail line, and the other traffic goes the other direction. But if that's the case, then we'll still turn a hell of a profit. We'll just be killing our buses, but who cares about buses? There is one person on board. Where'd he go? I know he's out here somewhere. She. She lives here. She's gonna go shop here. That is somehow simultaneously like one of the shortest shopping trips and one of the longest. I'm going to go to the hat store. Take a boat and everything. You can use the vehicle cam to follow people around, and it's great. It follows them kind of awkwardly, though. Huh. I didn't even know that until I clicked on it. Also, she's moving 7 kilometers an hour. It's like an oddly powerful walk, I think. Alrighty, I think I'll see you all in the next part, where we might do some stuff in the 1920s. Or we might not. Who knows? I don't know if I need that much in between areas. I might just need like 1 or 2 boats. Alrighty, I'll see you all there. Till then.